Me now is Congressman Pete Sessions, the Republican from Texas. Congressman, good to have you with us. Now, you're on the House Oversight Committee. I know you weren't involved in the goings on earlier today. Any concerns here, and what do we take away from the doctors, the good doctor's decision?
Todd, what you're speaking of today is very important, not just constitutionally, but actually the way Congress and many others react off the news. As you and I both know, the health of the president, mental health, as well as physical health, is of enormous nature that's even covered within the Constitution. But when people who, as part of their official business, mislead people or the American people, this causes people to not only question the doctor, because we all saw that President Biden was struggling mightily, but it impacted the country's ability to have a person who was available 24 hours a day in right mind to make decisions, to know what needed to be done. And these are the kinds of things that when we outsource them, so to speak, to a medical professional, we expect to get back a medical professional's observations. This is of enormous consequences because, as you know, there were lots of people who were making these claims, many within the White House. And, of course, then we saw this most dramatically when the first debate took place, that President Biden, in fact, did not have a comprehension or ability level to effectively carry on his work. And this is something the American people saw firsthand.
Congressman, here are some of the questions that House Oversight Chairman James Comer asked, and these are the ones that Dr. O'Connor did not answer. Let's watch this.
Were you ever told to lie about the president's health? He pleaded the Fifth Amendment. He would not answer that question. The second question, did you ever believe President Biden was unfit to execute his duties? Again, President Biden's White House position pleaded the Fifth Amendment.
So what does that tell you, Congressman?
Well, it tells me what vastly across the American electorate we understood, and that was President Biden was not up to not only his task as commander-in-chief, but the official resources of the White House and the Democratic Party were being used to provide a ruse to the American people about his effectiveness. And this is where we got into then with the auto pen, the ability for this White House to once again manufacture up their own concoction of running the government. And, of course, the American people for a long time were questioning who's making these decisions. No one but the President of the United States is vested with that right and obligation to protect this nation in such a way and decision-making as the President of the United States. So, obviously, it had to be looked at. It had to be questioned. That he has chosen to take the Fifth is rather amazing, that a physician who was serving as a medical professional could not answer the simple questions.
So are we done here with this, Congressman? Is there anything else you can do? You know, when the Democrats are in charge, they were hauling Republicans in, and anybody who refused a subpoena, they went to jail. Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro. Do you anticipate being that harsh when dealing with some of these folks?
Well, in fact, I do. The nature of the security of the nation is at risk. And these people who were a part of the charade, a group of people who furthered this on, even though I think, once again, at the night of the first debate, people realized just how ghastly the president's inabilities were, demonstrably in front of the American people. it's shocking. He was protected within the White House. He was protected by people who work for him, and this is something that we must never go back on. We must never go back through the same era. He hid at the time he was running for president, and he hid down the basement. Right. And while that was seemingly pretty funny, once you become the president of the United States and have a constitutional duty, it is no laughing matter.
No, it is not a laughing matter. Congressman, we appreciate you coming on Newsmax this evening. Thank you.
Well, stay tuned. James Comer has a lot more that we need to vet to make sure the American people know that this should not occur again and what was wrong with it. And we look forward to making sure that you and the American people get that story.